This was what we refer to as ground zero. That building is considered ground zero because it just was so blatant.
Hospice patient advocate Sheila Clark has been raising alarm on this one building in LA for years. This building, our investigation found, is home to 89 registered hospice companies. It's called the Merabi Professional Medical Plaza, and it's the most extreme case of hospice clustering that we found.
And this particular building, I noticed, I'm like, dang, how can there be that many licensed and certified hospices in this tiny little building?
We went to the Van Nuys address to find out what's going on.
We're going to try to go in and see what we can find. Here's the directory. Hospice, home health agency, hospice, hospice.
Can you come back?
Just looking at this directory, you can see dozens of hospice agencies coming up.
The state and federal records for hospice agencies tell you a lot. State auditors have identified warning signs when they're looking for fraud, like multiple hospice offices packed into one building, or caretakers whose patients who are supposedly at death's door are discharged alive. According to our analysis, 72 of the 89 registered hospices in Merabi Plaza have at least 3 of those potential warning signs.
This isn't possible. It made no sense because I know what a licensed and certified hospice looks like.
We weren't the first ones to come to this building. Federal inspection records show that regulators visited multiple suites in Merabi Plaza between 2021 and 2025, and they found nearly 400 violations. At one, a nurse wrote that a patient's family was satisfied with the care, but inspectors found no one from the hospice ever even visited that patient. At another, the patient's chart listed medications for malaria and diabetes, but the patient told inspectors he wasn't taking either one. And at that same company, a hospice social worker wrote about a family's grief when their loved one had passed, but there is no evidence the patient was actually dead. These hospices have been billing Medicare for reimbursement with your tax dollars for years.
Why are we still seeing such rampant signs of this? Why hasn't more been done?
We're committed to tackling the issue until we root it out and extinguish all fraud.
So who's working to fix this? Well, the state attorney general is the one responsible for investigating the industry here in California.
California is always going to have the biggest numbers. We're the biggest state. We're the 4th largest economy in the world. We have the most people of any state. And but this issue is unacceptable, and we need to keep tackling it and do more.
We're also following the money here. Medicare is federally administered. It's your federal tax dollars going to these hospices. So we sat down with Dr. Mehmet Oz, who heads the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services.
Is this accelerating the enforcement, the shutting down of these hospices?
We have dramatically accelerated our ability to take out the bad guys by stopping their payments. And that's the big mindset shift. I want to make it clear, we're not going to pay you money just because you sent me a piece of paper with a bill on it. We're going to check to make sure that's legitimate and that document is evidence that you actually performed something that's helpful to the American people, or you're not getting money from us.
When we went back to Merabi Plaza, we found the building's owner, Kambiz Merabi.
I have vacancies. Tenant would come in as long as they're legit.
Yeah.
They have valid things that we need. I rent. I'm not a police or keeper of what they do, how they do business.
So from your perspective, they're licensed. That's obviously the first sort of barometer of measuring whether it's a legit business or not.
Absolutely. And look, maybe state and the federal government, it's becoming restrict on many businesses, and I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, you and I are paying for all those things that are not right.
Merabi wouldn't let us walk the halls on our own to talk with hospice employees, but told us this about any possible fraud.
If you learn of hospices in your building that are accused of fraud,
I would immediately
you would get rid of them.
terminate.
Okay.
Yes.
But that hasn't happened yet.
No, no one has ever come to me tell me that, okay, this or that is doing fraud.